Hello and welcome to Lovely English Stories. Thank you for stopping by. This story is for intermediate English learners. Are you ready? Well, let's get started. B1, B2 English Story. British Culture Shock. When Matteo moved from Spain to Manchester, he thought the hardest part would be improving his English. He had studied the language for years and felt fairly confident speaking it. However, after only a few weeks in the UK, he realised that language was only one small part of adapting to a completely different way of life. The first challenge was the weather. People often joke about British weather, but Matteo quickly discovered that the jokes were based on reality. One moment the sky was bright and sunny, and the next it was cold, windy, and raining heavily. Back home, he was used to long summers and outdoor cafes filled with people late into the evening. In Britain, he found himself carrying an umbrella everywhere and checking the weather forecast several times a day. Another difficult adjustment was the communication style. British people were polite, but they also used humour and sarcasm in ways that confused him at first. During his first week at work, a colleague looked out at the heavy rain and said, Lovely weather, isn't it? Matteo nodded seriously before realizing everyone else was laughing. He soon discovered that British people often say the opposite of what they really mean as a form of humour. Sarcasm appeared everywhere. If someone made a small mistake, another person might jokingly say, Well, that went brilliantly, even when things had clearly gone wrong. At first, Matteo worried people were being rude or unfriendly, but over time he understood that sarcasm was often used to make situations feel less awkward and more relaxed. Once he learned to recognize it, he began to enjoy it himself. Social life also felt different. Back home, friendships developed quickly, and it was common for people to invite each other out at short notice. In the UK, however, plans were often arranged days or even weeks in advance. People valued personal space and privacy more than he expected. Although his colleagues were friendly, it took time before he felt truly included in their social circles. The housing situation shocked him as well. Matteo rented a small flat with high monthly costs, and he could not believe how expensive heating bills were during winter. Some older buildings were beautiful on the outside, but poorly insulated, making them freezing cold at night. He also noticed clear contrasts between neighbourhoods. In some areas, there were modern apartments and expensive shops, while nearby streets contained social housing and council estates facing economic difficulties. The healthcare system was another surprise. Matteo appreciated that the NHS provided free medical care, but he was unprepared for the long waiting times. Booking an appointment was sometimes difficult, and non-emergency treatment could take months. People abroad often described British healthcare as perfect, But Matteo soon realized the reality was more complicated. Even small everyday situations felt unfamiliar. People apologized constantly, even when something was not their fault. Strangers thanked bus drivers when leaving the bus, and conversations about the weather seemed to happen almost everywhere. Despite these challenges, Matteo slowly began to adjust. He learnt to dress for every type of weather, recognize sarcasm, and appreciate the quiet politeness of British culture. Over time, the things that once frustrated him became normal parts of daily life. One evening, while sitting in a cozy pub with friends, Matteo realized something important. Moving to another country was never only about learning a language. It was about understanding habits, humor, values, and ways of thinking. Britain was not always easy to adapt to, but that was exactly what made the experience interesting. Now, let's go through some of the vocabulary from this story. But if you'd like to support the channel and become a member so that we can continue to make these free stories, please find out more in the description box below. Right, let's start with apologized. To apologize means to say sorry for something. He apologized for arriving late. Insulated means to be protected from heat or cold. The house is well insulated in winter. Jokingly means in a funny way and not serious. She jokingly called him a genius. Realizing or to realize means to understand something clearly. He was realizing how different life was. Recognize. To recognize means to know or identify something. She began to recognize British humour. Adapt. To adapt means to change to fit a new situation. It takes time to adapt to a new country. Adapting is to change slowly to suit something new. He is adapting to British culture because it takes time to adapt to a new country. Another way you can use this is adjust. People become comfortable with change when they adjust. She needed time to adjust to the weather. He was adjusting to British culture. Advance means before something happens. They planned the trip weeks in advance. Appreciate means to understand the value of something. He learnt to appreciate British humour. Awkward. Awkward means uncomfortable or embarrassing. There was an awkward silence. Brilliantly means in an excellent way. The actor performed brilliantly. Constantly means all the time or very often. It was constantly raining. Contrasts means a clear difference between things or two different things. There were contrasts between rich and poor areas. Council. The council is a local government organisation. The council manages local housing. Economic means related to money or the economy. The country faces economic problems. Estates. These are large areas of land or groups of buildings. Many families live on council estates. Expected means to have thought something would happen. She expected life to be easier. Fault means responsibility for a mistake. It was not his fault. Found means to have discovered or realized something. He found the culture interesting. Medical means related to health and doctors. She needed medical treatment. Reality. Reality means the true situation. The reality was different from the stereotype. Treatment. Treatment is medical care for illness or injury. He waited months for treatment. Truly means really and honestly. She was truly happy there. Understanding means knowledge or acceptance of something. He had an understanding of British culture. Moving means changing place to live somewhere else. Moving abroad can be difficult. Nodded or to nod means to move your head up and down in agreement. He nodded during the conversation. Politeness means kind and respectful behaviour. British politeness surprised her. Now, this next word can be pronounced as privacy or privacy, depending on where you're from and your accent. Both are fine. Being alone or keeping personal things secret is what privacy or privacy mean. People value privacy in the UK. Unfamiliar. Unfamiliar means not known or recognised. The food seemed unfamiliar. Sarcasm. That's humour that stays or says the opposite of the truth. British sarcasm can confuse learners. We are very sarcastic people. Unprepared means not ready for something. She felt unprepared for the weather. Don't we all? Frustrated. If you are frustrated, then you're feeling annoyed because something is difficult. He became frustrated with the delays. We hope you enjoyed this lovely English story and the vocabulary explanations. Thank you for stopping by. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And remember, you can get productive and check out our language learning productivity packs over on Etsy. But don't forget to use the code YouTube10 for 10% off. See you soon!